Awesome, right on. I'll go ahead and get us started right into the format here. We did have, well, it's actually, you know what? Let me back up by saying this being my first season in the Dynasty League format to where I actually was in from Jump Street and got to take part in my first draft. And so if anybody wants to correct me in my explanation of the draft, please do step forward. But we basically redrafted all of our designated players, our players rated 80 and above that did not see a development boost from 60s, 70s, whatever, up into the 80s. That became what we call homegrown players. We did have to cut a few members of fat off of our roster, in addition to, of course, those aforementioned designated players. And once we did all that, got all the fat cut, we had our draft first of designated players. Then it went into the rest of filling out the roster. We did also expand this year, so there was an expansion draft at the end of all of that, where we did have our D4 expansion team members go ahead and round out their teams as well. I must say, first, right off the bat, a huge, huge shout out to everybody who did participate. Being my first time, I was immensely impressed with the speed in which everything did go. I was honestly must see action on my phone to see all the picks coming in, to see all the spice coming in about those picks. I think probably the designated player pick that got the most reaction to it was Cancelo, getting taken as high as he did in the first round. But all in all, it was really cool, and I was really, really thankful to be a part of it. Really fun experience, and again, congratulations to everybody for the speed in which you guys were able to get everything done, and how friendly everything was. And I'm now hating myself because I do not remember what Finesse's what his word of choice was. That if anybody took longer than 2 minutes, he was hitting them with. Does anybody remember which?
Ridiculous.
That was quite a good time. And then, of course, anytime that you responded quickly with a pick, he hit you with a "my man," and that was just some great headlines there for some great themes there from the draft. Just to recap a little bit about how I did, this is probably not the order in which I took them in, but I took, oh God, I'm going to butcher his name, Calabai, the Chelsea defender. Again, probably going to butcher his name. As I mentioned the last time I hosted this thing, I am not very good with names. Moved on then to Tony Cruz from Real Madrid, where I then went striker, or actually, he's actually playing top left for me right now in, oh my gosh, I'm totally forgetting his name. Guedes, I think. The Watford man, or not Watford, Wolverhampton man. And very much impressed with what I kind of went in just a little bit on SoFIFA ratings, or FIFA. We had to use SoFIFA at the time, ratings only, not actually having played with really anybody over the years. So that was kind of an experience. Really liked how everybody was playing. I say that having already dropped Tony, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity that came to me shortly after the draft. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Loved everybody I came away with in my designated players, even if it did mean someone had to go quickly. It was more just when your man is out there, Bruno Guimaraes. Again, sorry about the name. You have to go out and take him, especially when you are a Newcastle fan like I am. Anybody else want to recap the designated player portion of their draft?
Yeah, I'll chime in. So this was also my first full draft portion, as I came in right around the time you did, Jay. So I didn't get to partake in FIFA 22. So coming away knowing I had number 5 was a really nice feeling, knowing I'm going to get an elite striker. Things definitely didn't go the way I planned. In my head, I had Holland all the way, and when he went 2, I was a little bummed, but I said, okay, no big deal. Lewandowski at 5, easy money. And then Lewandowski went 3. So we just kind of had to swallow our pride as a Man City fan and take arguably the greatest of all time. I know some people may say Messi, but we took Ronaldo, and so far in friendlies, it's crazy how much easier it is playing with a bona fide striker versus just pairing whatever you can up top. And then we followed suit like we had last FIFA, and we went with two center backs. We took Ruben Diaz and we took Skriniar, and he fell. I was kind of shocked at how much he fell. But then right after the draft, an opportunity arose, and we took Ruben Diaz right before someone who wanted him, and he offered me someone that I've been trying to get the entire time I've been in the league in Big Dom Shabashlai. So we traded Ruben and we brought back a member from last season at Nashville with Matthias Delict. So overall, extremely happy with how things played out at number 5, knowing that it was going to be a while until I got another pick after taking CR7. It worked out well, so I was happy with that.
Couple things that I wanted to add on there. The draft was in a snake draft format, so Kev having the higher pick that he did, he waited a while before he did get to take his second round pick. But just to run through the top 10 as they went in order, number 1 overall was Mbappe. No real surprise there. I think that's, as I was looking back at some archives, consecutive number 1 overall picks there. We then get into Holland. We then go to Lewandowski, Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar at 6, Son at 7, De Bruyne at 8, Salah at 9, and rounding out the top 10 was Harry Kane. I kind of halfway expected Vinny Jr. to maybe creep up in there into the top 10 only because of the combination of pace and skill. It's I got to play with him a little bit in our, I don't know what the technical term we use for it is, our gimmick tournament that we use the box of surprises or whatever that it was called. I used Real Madrid in that and really enjoyed playing with Vinny Jr. And if I had a top 10 pick, I probably was going to use it in that capacity, unless I was like, top 3 or something. I end up personally was at 24, and that's when I picked the defender that I did. But I'm looking through here to see any surprises or anything that maybe caught my eye, and everything pretty much, I would say, went about as expected. No real surprises here at all. I mean, maybe Benzema falling a little bit to 14. That was a little bit of a surprise. I mean, now especially when you look at him, the guy just walked away in the real world with the Ballon d'Or. So obviously top talent there, but he is a little bit older, and so I don't know. It's one of those things where, like you said, Kev, bona fide striker. It's kind of hard to come by, and when you have one, you really feel it. But really, like I said, other than that, no real surprises there. Anybody else surprised by anything in the first round or wanted to recap their own draft?
Well, I know for one, I was stoked to have Vinny Jr. drop out of the top 10, and couldn't throw that pick in fast enough. Still getting used to the dribbling skills with the new version, but yeah, really stoked to have him on the phone squad.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have Gator teach me a little bit because I'm not the best skiller, but I'm rocking out with Neymar here, and a lot of people were speculating I'd go Spursy, and that's just absolutely absurd that I would ever have that on my roster with Son there, but I couldn't resist Neymar at what was I, 6 there? So
I'll chime in. So not only the Benzema and Vinny going outside of the top 10, I had them in my mock drafts, top 10 bona fide both times. The Goretzka pick at 13 was significantly higher than any of the other players in the first round from mock draft wise. And then obviously Cancelo in the first. That one was a shocker as well.
yeah, he's a perfect London player though. That Goretzka there, so that made a lot of sense on the inside, I guess, more so than looking from the outside in on it. But I think he's going to do bits for London this year.
That's kind of one of those things in this format that you almost have to really think about is what BPA, best player available versus your own skill set and ability behind the controller, because you do have to factor those kind of things in. I mean, I mentioned how much I did enjoy Vinny. But if I'm being honest with myself, maybe that is a little bit too much muscle, a little bit too much horsepower under the hood for me because I am not really that much of a dribbler. I'm more of a ball moves faster than the man, so get my passing game going, and it's ultimately what did lead me to going to Tony Cruz in the second round. Because of that passing ability, both long and short. Even though he may be probably the slowest guy on the pitch at all times. Ultimately, again, not why I dropped him. I dropped him more or less just because there was a redundancy there between him and Bruno once I did get my favorite Brazilian. But other than that, anybody else struggle with that, really great player, but not quite fitting your play style?
No,
I
not
guess.
really. That kind of like not fit into style. I was just gonna kind of reiterate the fact that I was surprised with Goretzka going where it went, but I'm kind of happy because I didn't. I was hoping for my main man Kimmich to follow me, which it did, but I was afraid of actually London taking him at that spot. But when he took Goretzka, I was like, this is it. I'm gonna be able to take my guy.
I did consider it for a while. I was going back and forth between Kimmich and Goretzka, but I don't know, man. It's just, and J-Face said it best. That's a very me kind of player, Goretzka, and I couldn't pass up the opportunity. I wanted Goretzka, I think, this time last cycle, and he went to whoever he went to, so I couldn't pass him up once he was available this time.
Now, going back into a little bit into the later portions of the draft, specifically the expansion draft, it's 12 teams, 14 rounds of drafting between them. Really, just like I said, getting rounding out your starting 11, rounding out your bench, maybe taking a flyer on someone for your academy, a younger player, someone like Elliot Anderson, like Nolan took in the 12th round. I only know him because, from Newcastle's academy, but anybody out in expansion land that you thought, holy cow, that guy, he had a great draft. I'm maybe watching him rising up the tables as we progress through this FIFA 23 cycle.
I don't really have anyone earmarked myself looking at it as a holy cow roster, but I think the thing that surprised me is a lot of the guys came out with some pretty strong rosters, some interesting depth pieces and developmental pieces. So I know there's a lot of talk beforehand of if there's enough players in the pool, et cetera, et cetera. And the last couple of picks, it kind of started getting thin. But I think up until then, it was pretty interesting to see some of the people picked.
I'll chime in. The roster that I felt was by far the strongest out of the expansion side, and I'm glad I'm not in this division. I don't want to see him until possibly next season if I stay up to D2 and he makes it there. Hoodle with Man United. I mean, I've played against him in the Xbox League. J-Face, I'm pretty sure you have as well. The guy's a nightmare, and he came away with a fantastic roster for being an expansion side. So watch out, D3.
That was the individual I had my eye on as well. He is going to be in Division 3 with me, so definitely not looking forward to what I'm sure is probably going to be maybe a beatdown or two. But let's go ahead. Speaking of the divisions and whatnot, let's start breaking things down division by division and a little bit of a preview here. London, you took a survey of the league. I do apologize, I was not able to participate in that, but you did get some real useful responses here. Something that I did find interesting starting in D4 was who they projected to be playoff teams. Are you still around here to maybe share some of that or get into any of that from Division 4?
Yeah, sure. That was actually, of the divisions, that was probably it was one of the most interesting results we kind of got. And I guess a lot of that is heading into the great unknown. We've got a lot of new people here, a couple of Xbox history people here. So predicting the winner was interesting, and then predicting the playoff contenders also interesting. It looks like the newest member of Division 4, Mr. Araki Chopper, has the most votes to win the division. So I don't know if he's been playing a bunch of friendlies and people people seem to rate him from that, or they're just kind of heading off into the unknown. He was the first with 12 votes. Then we had Frizz, who I believe is a returning player, with 8 votes, and then MB935 with 5 votes. Then when it comes to playoff contenders, we had, Frizz was chosen by nearly everybody to be a contender for the playoffs. But then we had people like Nolan S32, Zcar, Sports Freak Forever, MB 935, Anaraki Chopper, of course, all with quite a few votes. I didn't mention Nashville there. He got 11 as well, so he was near enough to count too. I don't know if Lobster Killer's constant declaration throughout the draft of not knowing who to sign and that he was out of Rebs players maybe sandbagged himself a little bit. Maybe he'll be surprising when it comes to the regular season.
I think I can answer the riddle for you a little bit when it comes to Iraqi Chopper or Iraqi Chopper. I just know him as Danny. So, but he is someone that a lot of the Division 4 guys and even a couple outside of Division 4 has played, other titles with. Very much a guy who is I'm not going to say stick wiggler because I've never quite played him in FIFA, but he is very good at video games. I'll just put it that way. So that probably has a lot of that to do with it. And then he probably takes over one of the rosters that, granted, he did have to make some changes to it per the jumping in, but he took over a roster from the good Dr. Webb's that was really quite good, and that's how I ultimately was blessed enough to get Bruno, but one that was respected, and I think that compared with the just gamer aspect of it all and how a lot of, or a good chunk of us know what type of skills he puts on that front, that led to a lot of the voting to getting him so high up there. And he's probably
He also beat a popular streamer in foot with a piece of cheese team, so that alone tells me he's at least a very good, if not excellent, FIFA player.
Usually, being good at video games translates to all titles. I mean, we can just look at some of our own top hitters in our league and see that they, go on and play great video or do well at other video games. I'm just rambling here, so I do apologize for that. But going into my Division 3. Boy, this group looks fun. Granted, I've always loved my group. I've been in Division 3 the entire time I've been in the league thus far, but this group looks especially an especially fun one to play with. I don't think I know I shot my shot in the chat saying that because I got Bruno, I'm now going to have a career finish, all-time best finish, and finish mid-table, but I'm still probably looking relegation dead in the face. Looking at the poll here, it does look like, let's see. I was probably, if I'm reading this right, London, it looks like I'm probably going to be about mid-table. That's what they're expecting me.
Yeah, let me just pull it up real quick there. Yeah, I mean, you'll be delighted to know that 3 people feel like you might make the playoffs. So, hey man, you got some fans going for you anyway. I don't know if you want me to run down the kind of poll results from Division 3.
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
Sweet. So it looks like it's an interesting kind of tussle at the top there. Most people have gone for Everbro, who I understand is a previous Dynasty player, so that kind of makes sense there. We then have Hoodle, who I think has made waves in the Xbox side of things. So Everbro had 14 votes, Hoodle had 10. Shaggy, who has played in Dynasty before, took a couple seasons off, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, he may have made it all the way to D1 at one point, got 4 votes too. That's definitely one to watch there. Then elsewhere, Demi-Doug also got a pair of votes there for a man who had a strong defense at the end of last season. And when it comes to playoff candidates, obviously Everbro, Shaggy, and Hoodle all getting almost 20 votes each. We also have Finesse with 13 votes. He might say that's ridiculous. I don't know. We'll have to see what he thinks there. But elsewhere, KG Lamb and Llama also getting 10 and 11 votes respectively. Then when it comes to relegation, this is a multicolored pie chart. This is all the different colors of pie over here. We have the TSL veteran Light the Wick with 13 votes to get relegated. I think he actually was sandbagging himself in the team previews. So looks like the manager also predicts that this season. J-Face, you'll be upset to know that 5 managers have destined you for the drop. Other than that, all that, Finesse has 4 votes as well. But we have votes for Red Wings, for Huddle, for Llama, for Everbro, and for Demi. So there's a lot of votes for everything when it comes to D3.
I think that just largely speaks to how competitive D3 should be this season. I do think that maybe some of the beginners cycle, some of that will start to shake off or shake free. The folks that maybe not dove into friendlies as strong as others, but yet later in the cycle will prove to be, quality sides, just kind of getting their bearings a little bit, using using the first season to get their bearings all together here in this FIFA 23 cycle. But like I said, I'm very much looking forward to playing with this group this season. It's going to be, I'm going to say we're going to have a far and above finisher at the top of the table in Huddle. And then I think it's going to be probably a dogfight the rest of the way down. Just how I'm feeling right now. Maybe, I know Wicks kind of brought this upon himself too. Maybe he does bring up the rear quite a bit. But other than that, I think it's going to be just a lot of fun and very little separation in those middle 8. Did I do my math there? Middle 8 sides. Turning the attention over to Division 2. This is another group that I do like. I'm going to be watching them quite a bit there, seeing as if I don't get relegated, I'll be sticking around Division 3 to welcome the folks who are getting relegated. But we have here, I know you mentioned Division 3 was in the relegation pie chart was full of different colors, full of different variety. One that The Rock would appreciate all the different variety in that pie. But we have some of that on the winner side of the predictions of Division 2. If you want to break that down and then jump into relegation after that.
Absolutely. Let's go. Let's look at things from the top there. Well, a previous D1 entrant. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. In Pepperoni has 11 votes to be the favorite to win D2 currently. After that, it's kind of a cluster of different votes. We have old Scotty Waffles, Scrubno with 6 votes. We got Pishan the Pecan with 5 votes. We have London with 4 votes. I mean, I don't know who voted. That was a bad choice, whoever voted there. But we have Sloppy with 3, RJ with 1, Kyle with 1, and Kev with 1 too. So, a lot of people think a lot of people could win. Other than that, to make the playoffs, 27 people are saying Pepperoni, 22 are saying Pishan, 21 are saying Scrub, no, 5 are saying RJ, 18 are saying Sloppy Fish, 4 are saying Kyle, 18 are saying London, 5 are saying Kev, 1 person is saying Gator, and I'm going to predict it was not Gator himself that said that. So there is someone out there that believes in him. You know what? I believe in him too. He's a good player. And 4 people said the commissioner, Red 925. Then when it comes to relegation, this is where things get interesting. 43% of people polled believe that the commissioner, who just came back up, remember, will be going straight back down. And then we have Gator with 9 votes to go down, RJ with 5, Kyle with 3, and Paris Pisham with a single vote to get relegated there.
Now, I did hear that they're expecting 10 goals to be scored just by AC Milan themselves when they go up against Lille this year. And That's going to be against Kyle. That's going to be quite interesting. Are we taking wagers here on that? Because I think I actually might take the over on that one.
It's actually a small correction there. It's not against Kyle. That would be Pishan against the Commissioner Red Owl 925.
Oh, that's right. Got my L's mixed up. You know, I take a lot of them, so I get them mixed up often. Lille and Leeds, two teams two clubs from different countries, but confusing me there. I'm not processing well. But 10 goals combined, or 10 goals combined in their two matchups. Good golly, if we see them in a cup match, does that mean we get 15 goals from AC Milan there out of the three matchups if they do happen to meet in the cup ever?
Oh man, just can you imagine the scenes? I mean, typically Pishan has been the unstoppable force of attack, and then Red Owl also has that famously sturdy defense. So something's got to give there.
And I will say that we were blessed by our fearless leader with the re-injection of a baseball franchise that I didn't even know was still around anymore. The Cleveland Indians supposedly still exist, to our fearless leader. So maybe he's got his mind on that more so than he does stopping AC Milan.
That's not very funny.
Coming back around to the predictions and where everybody is thinking, we're going to head over to the top table, Division 1, the land of dairy. I mean, sorry, that was something I saw in my notes here, something about cheese. But anyway, Division 1 it's looking like the same old suspects. Don't get me wrong. I loved how we capped off the final season of FIFA 22 with the season of Uber. As much as I loved it, I don't see us starting the first season of FIFA 23 the same way. It does look like the votes here do represent that as well. Looks like same old suspect, Colby, C-Mac up here at the very top, with Seals bringing up number 2 spot, as also probably expected. But what about dark horses? London, I'm looking at this pie chart. It seems pretty all over the place. What are we looking at here?
I mean, everybody's predicting, predicting different things. It's everybody wants to pick the favorite or pick the long shot before it becomes more popular, right? So we got 9 votes for the Brothman to do things. The ultimate sandbagger, will he become the dark horse? Who knows? And we have season of dues. I myself have predicted that for 3 seasons in a row now, so I'm going to keep predicting it until it happens. I believe in dues. Fizz, we have 6 votes for. Feels like Fizz has got his mojo back, so I definitely feel like that's possible. We have 4 votes for perennially 3rd, 4th place Isaac, so that's Hockey Jock for anybody who doesn't know personally. Then we have 2 votes for Uber to do it again, 2 votes for You Can, and a single vote for Sabacho.
I will say, I joke around about how it's the same old suspects every season out there, but they do put out some quality matches from a viewership standpoint. I do enjoy watching all of them play. So I am looking very much forward to seeing how Division 1 does line up in the end. What about relegation? I'm looking, just pulling up the chart real quick here. This is where my eyes are failing me. Is that Seb there with the highest percentage of the pie chart there?
Yeah, it is, and this is going to be my... Oh, no, it's not. I take it back. Well, Seb does have 7 votes, but most people think that You Can is going straight back down again. We got Akshat with 7 votes to go down, and then a couple for Fizz, a couple for Broth, and a single for Hockey Jock, who has never been relegated before, but definitely flirted with it towards the back end of last cycle.
Yeah, me and my eyes are failing me right now, so sorry about that for catching the stray there, for throwing a stray your way there, Seb. But I do very much like watching these guys play. In fact, I friendly with many of them, during the course of a cycle. Specifically, you can. Oxshot and I will have a couple friendlies here and there. Broth, I do friendly with him often. Actually, being someone in my neck of the woods, not quite all the way up north where I am, but the old man, I guess maybe my hours are just a little bit too late for the old man. Dudes haven't really had a chance to friendly you all too much over the course of the years. But yeah, just a great group of guys that I do enjoy playing with myself. Just probably will never ever have the skill level to see a Division 1 next to my name or a color in my little emblem there for Tradition Soccer. Turning the page over to any kind of shenanigans or predictions that we might see just outside of who's going to be on top, who's going to be on bottom. I remember seeing in the chat right around the time early access either had ended, or maybe it was when the game, like the first couple days of the release of the game, someone said like record scoring cycle for TSL this year or something to that effect. Maybe because I did go to the school of Red Owl for FIFA playing, I'm not scoring any goals. But is that still some of the feeling that people are having about this game, that we're going to see but we're going to see a cycle full of goals?
Absolutely. I'll chime in. I think this is going to be not on the level of the first ever season of Dynasty, but it's going to come close.
Is there anything particular that you see as contributing to that? I mean, is it just the way the game's playing? Is it maybe the AI of the goalkeeping? Because I have heard complaints about goalkeepers being out of position frequently or just going into dumb mode.
So I think it's going to be a combination of the goalies not particularly playing well from an AI standpoint, but I also think with the way the pace of the game and the passing ratings really take into account for being able to do well, I think people who are used to playing fast and just kind of pinging balls left and right, they're going to make a lot of turnovers when they don't have the numbers back on defense. It's going to lead to a lot of fast break goals for people who know how to pass consistently. And there's going to be a lot of open opportunities in the box. So I just think that's going to come with a lot of scoring numbers.
Anyone else want to chime in with their thoughts as far as if this is going to be an open cycle, so to speak, where goals just come in droves, or really about any scoring records at all?
The first season of the cycle will be an adjustment season for a lot of people, mainly for what you said, but also the passing is it's gonna get some used to. Defense, it's not as I'm not gonna say easy because it wasn't easy on 22, but it's not as the AI doesn't do as much as it used to do. So that's also gonna influence the scoring and how people defend. But as soon as the first season is over, a lot of people are gonna be used to it, and the second season is gonna be more back to normal.
Anyone that we're particularly looking at in terms of maybe taking away golden boots, or kind of usual suspects there? Your Mbappe's, your Neymar's, your Holland's.
And Fizz beat the pants off me in a friendly the other day, and I could see. I'm not sure exactly who. Probably Gakpo would be his go-to, but it'd be interesting to see if he might be able to push for a non-DP to win a golden boot there. Oh, Schick too. He's a menace with him as well. So I think it could be an interesting season for old Fizz.
Not to put any added pressure on one of the GOATs of this league, but I would be shocked if Dybala does not come away with either MVP or Golden Boot for Colby and D1.
All right. What about, let's turn our attention over out to the Cup, to the Lowe's League Cup, not sponsored. I think this is where our expansion group, I think it's where they're going to shine. I think this is where someone like Hoodle, like NB, like Danny, Iraqi Chopper, I think that's where these guys could really show off their skills because I mean they have to. I remember my first cup, being told that all right, those designated players that you drafted or that you I can't remember what the fishbowl made me do. Sorry, I'm blanking right now, but those guys that you attached yourself to early on, throw them away, throw them in the bin for these matches. I felt like a fish out of water because I never friendlied in a cup style roster. I never even played around like just in an offshoot game with in league, just to maybe take the idea of not resting players, but just getting incorporated with my cup side. So that first cup match was just flying blind. Somehow, some way, came up with a cup set. Akshat, I love you for that. But I think it's also really the opportunity for the new guys to show their stuff. Any themes or storylines that we need to be looking for in the Lowe's League Cup? Again, not sponsored.
Isaac will always have a good chance in Cup. He's got a strong roster. But, those guys will definitely be in it at the end. But I think the interesting thing will be some of the new guys coming in. I think even just through divisions this season, it's going to be interesting to see who kind of moves up and down and how the lower couple divisions shake out early and see what players we think really might be able to make it to D2 and D1. If Chopper winds up running up the table with that stacked team, is he going to push people in Cup? Is he going to push people in the divisions? Other players as well too. Hoodle, you guys talked about a lot. Are these guys going to be able to step up and kind of dismantle the big four, I guess, that it's become? So.
All right, I'll take us on over into the final topic of the night, and that is how we're kicking off the season tomorrow with our streams. So we've got kicking off at approximately 8:30 Eastern is Frizz and Zcar. That'll be Brighton versus, which is manned by Zcar, and Blackpool manned by Frizz. That is at 8:30. That is representing Division 4. Representing Division 3 is, as I mentioned, Red Wings and all that finesse. It'll be Bohemian FC versus Lens. At 9:30, we have Manchester City versus Leicester City. That is Kev versus Scrub. And then we do have, at a time not yet determined, I'm guessing, we've got Ajax versus Atletico Madrid, which is Warren versus Broth. So we've got 4 quality matchups there on Tuesday night. Which is there any one that has your attention more than others? I will say probably for myself personally, it's probably going to be. It's actually real tough because I like 4 and I like 2. I like Brighton, Blackpool, and I like Manchester City, Leicester City, mainly because I think with Division 4 it's the unknown. Yes, I have played with Zcar, never really played with Frizz. Haven't seen anything from him, so really the intrigue of something new there for me. And then with Division 2, just seeing 2 old pals go at it in Kev and Scrub. Any matchup anyone else of the 4 is super looking forward to?
I kind of want to see the 4 just because there's a lot of unknowns there. So I just kind of see where these guys are starting from, who's going to make it into the new divisions the next year. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a little preview of the division. It'll be fun to watch.
Kev, is there any pressure being the person on the kickoff stream?
Obviously, there's pressure. You're either going to start a day before the season starts top of the table, or you're going to be dead last. So obviously there's pressure. There's a little added pressure knowing that I'm going against the guy I've known in this league the longest from before the league, Battle for Wisconsin, which cheese supremacy rises to the top. But it's all fun and games. I'm looking forward to my battle. Throughout history, I'd say we're pretty even with wins and losses. So realistically, it's anybody's game. And obviously, I'm biased, but I think it might end up being the best game of the night, pending D1 playing. If D1 plays, Warren versus newcomer Broth and Mbappe, what's going to happen? That'd be my pick for best match. But I think D2 will be right up there.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and close it out here for this episode. I just realized I don't think I ever said the name of this show. Talking TSL, Talking Tradition Soccer League. My, oh my. It's been a day. It's been an episode. Looking forward to playing with all of you. I thank you so much to everybody that did participate. I thank you so much for those who will listen to the episode. Look forward again to playing with everybody here that I get a chance to, whether it be in league, whether it be in cup, whether it be in a friendly. And until next time, good luck out there, and we'll see you soon.